All right, so we are experimenting with pencil drawing today. So of course, it will be essential to have all different kind of hardness of the pencils. Yes, and I'm sure you're familiar. We have HB as like the start point, and then we have pencils with H, 3H, the hard ones. And actually, they're also very useful. So of course, you use them less, but there are moments you really need them. And then, of course, more the ones you use 2B, 4B, 6B, and all other kinds. Yeah, so I think you can get even till 9B and more. And those are like really, really dark. Yeah, so, and of course, they call them like hard and soft. It's just how easy this dark part is kind of getting off. Yeah, so hard one, it's almost even scraping the paper, and soft one is almost like charcoal. Yeah, it gets off easy. And okay, let's try our guy. So it's a famous American artist, I suppose. Yeah, J.D. Hillberry. But of course, very impressive turn paper. Yeah, very realistic. So today our aim is very realistic. But nevertheless, we're starting with composition. And then I'm usually starting, let's say, with HB pencil, or 2B can also do. Yeah, I'll be working with a bit more darker, so then you can see better on the screen. Yeah, so composition, let's plan our shape of our turned paper. So kind of, yeah, I can already at once do it a bit, so not just straight line, but a little bit maybe. Yeah. But of course, not too much details at once, just. So then I leave some space here for the hands. Yeah. And yeah, so planning. So we have enough space for the face. And then more or less, more or less. And then same way. Yeah, and then the same way we can sketch. So then the fingers, let's say. Yeah, so we will be coming back and precising them. What you can pay attention to is, so for example, all those distances between, yeah, so just don't look at them as fingers, but rather just some lines and points. So you can see what is the distance from the small finger and then the next finger where it's ending. And then, of course, important are all those points of, like, turning points of fingers, because this, of course, represents the structure. Yeah, and so we can also like study a bit our own fingers and see where they change the direction and how big is each part. So of course, if we get these proportions wrong, then it feels already a bit something. And don't do fingers too small, I mean, or too thin. Yeah, so thickness also is the, yeah. And doing all those fingers would be a very good exercise on drawing shadow, like which shadow should we put with a soft line and which shadow where we should put like very strict line. Yeah, very Yeah, so let's say here are some falling shadows from one finger to another. There we can draw pretty much straight line. Yeah, also remembering this rule, like there is object, there is no object. Yeah, then also the line is kind of very, very sharp. But for example, where the finger itself is turning, there we have our, and the shadow goes pretty much soft, because then it represents the shape. Okay, yeah, I'm already also, it's very, yeah, one really wants to get into details, so what happens also have to kind of stop me, like, okay, no, because now I already feel, yeah, I still haven't got all the parts, but already want to get into, yeah. So to avoid that later I need to raise and move all my nicely drawn details, it's better to, let's say, get back to other hand. Then you can see if it, if everything fits nicely, yeah, and then one with an ease heart can continue. Yeah, with all the precisions and details. Yeah, so really like each shape I'm drawing, I'm simply analyzing, okay, how big is this line? What's the direction of this line? And always kind of comparing the position with no other points. So like, okay, this part is ending here, where, let's say here the nail is ending, and at the other finger it's starting, you know, the other part. So very like no motions, just geometry. Because like when we are looking for like realism, yeah, of course, if let's say artist is working their own interpretation, of course it can go differently, but today's task is, yes, and then like while now sketching the outlines, still you can already kind of think and feel, okay, which shadows are which way, yeah, so where the finger is there, you can see there is like very soft shadow goes from dark, slowly fading out. And in this stage, I would, of course, suggest try to work quickly. So it's kind of better to put quickly more lines, and then you see, okay, which parts are not fitting, or which parts are too short or too long. Yeah, and it's very normal to correct. So don't be like very, move your lines, change the lines. Yeah, so here is like very interesting, of course, game of this. The hand from the right side. Like we can see, okay, one finger is turned this way, the other coming completely different direction. They're all different size. So here is like very lots of points to consider, which point where is living. Yeah, and here, for example, also like now I'm putting in my shadow, almost, yeah, outside the composition. So I haven't like rushed, so didn't plan it too perfect. Okay. If it's paper later on, can cut one side or. And I also think like when one does those drawings, when you know, like in the purpose of study, you copy them, and of course it's good, like it's essential to have a good quality drawings, meaning like Google and take some Da Vinci drawings, you know. So it's like if you learn, then of course, yeah. Otherwise, your eyes get used to the bad examples. Of course, this is. So more or less, I've done the outlines for the hands, yeah, and okay, I'm still indecisive with the eyes. Shall we do the guy? Shall we do others? So I kind of will leave it, and let's just work a bit more on hands. They're very cool. Like there are so much stuff to do there that we can absolutely leave, you know, also just hands or later make all dark inside and just like a very like maybe just silhouette of eyes. Yeah, so because of course the guy is very detailed. Yeah, so maybe let's practice with hands. And yeah, then kind of you did the outline and you keep on working, keep on complicating the drawing. So then you go back and start precising more a bit the shape. Then already you see, okay, those parts of fingers. Here is also a little bit the clue not to be lazy to correct. Yeah, it's of course like when we already did the shading, everything, and then you see the proportion is not right, and then but like be honest, do the hard job. Yeah, this is why it's kind of good to do it in stages and not rush the details. Yeah, so let's say maybe the second stage can be precising the nails. Yeah? Then once you have those nails, it's also you kind of already getting better the shape. But of course, you can also like in parallel do a little bit of shading. So let's say, yeah, very simply, you have the line and you see from which side it's lighter or darker. And then you put yeah, and again, I feel like I do the finger and I'm kind of getting trapped into details, so like really stopping, like no, let's move, let's do all others. Yeah, for example, now I feel this my second finger is really should be bigger than I have it. So here I am moving. Yeah, and those cast shadows also can be part of this second stage. Let's say so. We did contour. Now we go back precising, and we precise with the nail. And today, of course, feel free to send me more your in-between stages, yes, because it will also help you as well if you take a picture and look from like as a photo, yeah, then those mistakes of proportions, they will be better visible. And then, of course, all the magic will happen when you have all your parts at place, and then you start doing all the tonality. So then you take softer pencil, and then you start putting dark and light parts, and then, of course, how good you can precise yeah, those differences. So you can have maybe just 2 black and white, or you can have maybe 15 in between the white and black, and you can have different grays. And then, of course, the more subtle you have those changes, the more realistic it looks. But then it's also important to put them on the right place. Yeah? So if you put something very dark where it's not, then yeah, so here kind of I started precising my fingers, and in the end I ended up moving almost all of them a little bit. Well, that's the way it works. Yeah, and very, of course, very cool drawing. Also the direction of the fingers, you can see that one finger is looking more like, you know, straight forward, one more to the left, to the right. Yeah, so kind of you did one part, and then you can do the self-check. That means just kind of looking all together of what you did, and a bit rechecking the points. So let's say, okay, the nail of this last finger is ending vertically, and then I kind of just draw like visually the vertical line. Okay, it's kind of maybe in the middle of the next nail, or yeah, the last nail on the other side is ending, and I draw like visually horizontal line, and I see, it is yeah, so now here, mine one is totally wrong, yeah, in its position. Yeah, so I draw like horizontal line, it has to be there, it has to be much more lower. Well, what I'm here doing. So, yeah, so it's actually the second nail is higher. So this one is, and the direction is totally different. And the thing is that, of course, when you do it like many times, then of course you become better and you get more precise with the, like more quickly. First time, of course, that's why also people start first to draw like tubes, vases, and you know, then the chair comes, then you have your eye more trained, and then you can take those more complicated elements. So hands are not easy. Okay, my hand got totally wrong. I was watching it somehow. Let's try. Perfect. And then it also helps sometimes to do a little break. So kind of just leave one part you're doing, go to another side of drawing, and then later coming back will, yeah, so I've moved all my fingers. Yeah, then you can also, let's say, the size of shadow is also a helper. So okay, at least kind of also just making dark this cast shadow, then will also help and get more. Yeah, now I found my mistake. It was on the first finger, got wrong the direction, and it all went. And this is like the way you work when you like do the portrait. And so you do the drawing and it's not looking similar. And then starts the game of finding the mistake. Yeah? So then you call it also like fighting for similarity. So then you start kind of rechecking the points, the parts, which one is a bit bigger, which is a bit smaller. So then okay, I got tired from those. Let's go to other fingers. Let's check on that. So again, kind of start putting the nail. And of course, don't forget, consider all this also thickness of finger that comes behind the nail. Yeah, it's not small. It's also very popular mistake, making details too small. Especially like those, like this thickness. And there is just like kind of measuring. So you either with eyes, yeah, if you're already a bit more experienced. If not, then it's also normal. You just take your pencil and just measure, okay, the size of finger, comparing it to the other. Of course, very small parts is harder to measure this way, because then you kind of just getting more like error. So this one you measure more with eyes. Okay, I think with this hand I have a bit more luck. Also, another very good exercise on drawing with pencil is drawing your keys. It's more also about showing materiality. So they're metallic, they have lots of those light parts, so you can also use then a lot of this soft pencil, and then there are a lot of different black and dark gray and light gray and like white parts. So you combine all them to get this feeling that they're metallic. And then in the next to it, you maybe put something that is not metallic, so maybe like keys, but the key chain, the key part, something like like plastic, and you also show the difference. And another one, of course, very classical, is to draw a glass filled with water, and you have spoon inside. Yeah, and then again, you have metallic spoon, you have glass, and then you have also water that changes a bit, yeah, the lines. So the spoon outside the water looks a bit different than inside the lines. They're like changing. Yeah, and this is of course very concentrated drawing, so it's and of course if you don't get like one-to-one precise copy, it's not like also maybe not our ultimate goal. I mean, we try our best now to copy, yeah, those hands the way they are, in the meaning of practice, yeah, doing this, because if later you paint a portrait, then you really need to be very precise millimeter wise. Yeah? Otherwise, then the person is not similar. That's the this complication of all those. But today we just kind of experiment, and let's say the second aim is to kind of study and feel all those shadows. Yeah, how important is to how I can play with all those darknesses. Yeah. And here is also very important to listen to your intuition. So if you're painting, then it's kind of, you have this inner voice saying something is not there right. It means you really need to stop and go just checking the lines again. So just like let's say happened to me, I was like, this finger, something. And then I start checking, okay, where the nail is ending, it ends where the other shadow of the other finger starts. And on my drawing, it was a bit too long. So then correct. Right. Yeah. If anyone wants to share, to send, just to, check quickly those mistakes.
Oh, I have right now. I don't know if you can see it. It's not dark.
Yeah, no, better if you can send it, Luis. It's sorry, it will be impossible to me to.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll send it in a little later.
Yeah, of course. That's, I mean, it's really up to you if you feel.
Too preliminary still. I'm slow at this, getting started.
Yeah, it's also, it's like experimenting with pencil technique, but now I'm thinking, yeah, we've started with a complicated task, but I mean, if your aim is to improve exactly those pencil drawings, then of course you start slowly with all those other drawing exercises that I mentioned, yeah, and then slowly you get to the. So let's say I had the contour, then I so like the first very sketch. Then I went precising, so then I was putting my nails, and then I could feel, okay, where I went wrong with my proportions. The next step would be already kind of this shadowing in the meaning of shape. So first our fingers, they are round, and yeah, it means that we need to show also that, okay. And in this moment helps also the this technique, yeah, when you close your eyes and then you get all those shadows kind of united. So, and then, so in this case will be like kind of putting main areas of dark shadows. And in this moment also you can experiment changing the pencil. Let's say, yeah, taking maybe a little bit softer. But of course one can One can work also, let's say, with soft pencil also very lightly. And so what's important in like in this shading is to understand that the shadow doesn't go there just in a no. It's just by some accident wish. It goes the way it follows the shape. So the shadow is that big or at this point exactly because the finger is that size and so on and so on. And here, of course, you can also already see artists used a lot of reflection. So to remind, reflection is the light inside the shadow, and it's also one of the classical like things you study, and it really helps to show the volume. They're also a little bit trick. So let's say where is the reflection? Reflection, let's say here the last finger, and here all the shadow part, and here at the border it's a bit lighter. And also here's the main shadow, and here it's a bit lighter. Also, like almost every finger has this, like only very carefully. So the main mistake is when you make this reflection part, so this light inside the shadow, you make it lighter than the light part of the object. So, and you can easily always check it with this closed eyes exercise. So when you close your eyes, the reflection should disappear and it's inside the shadow. Then it's right. But if you close your eyes and then this reflection part is too light, so it's kind of, this is like jumping out and is the same tonality as the light part, and then it's wrong. Then you just go and make it darker. So nothing really. Yeah, so then, okay, now I'm going with all those shadows on my fingers, thinking of the shape of my of the fingers. So it's the shadow, it's also somewhere it's a bit curvy. Yeah, and then I see, okay, how much light part I'm leaving, how much the shadow part, because it all tells me about the shape. Yeah, so in this like moment when you already do the shading, of course, I mean, it also can happen that you're still kind of correcting some proportions. Yeah, can happen, of course, but should be already kind of be the last ones. Because then the next step would be already working exactly in this tonality. So already doing a bit more precise how dark is where. And then of course we see all these cast shadows are pretty much dark. And all those transition shadows are much more lighter. And then in this pencil technique, of course, it's also good. It's important to have eraser. What happens often, you also cut it with a knife to make it kind of sharp. So then you can have a very sharp edge to get into the areas, and you can remove just like very thin line. And so in the end, you kind of also end up a bit drawing with your eraser. Then you can
I'm good at using the eraser.
Good one, Liz.
A lot of practice.
Yeah. And like later, when you already got to the stage of where you do all this tonality, yeah, so you're starting, you put somewhere very dark. So, and then in case you did something too dark and you need lighter, make it lighter, then you don't use your eraser in a classical way, like moving it, but it's really more just tapping. You kind of, you clean your eraser and then you tap your dark spot and it becomes lighter. And like this, you also avoid making mess, because of course, with pencil, it gets all black. And another kind of tip is also when you already, you know, on the later stage of your pencil drawing, it's normal you get the side of your hand kind of dirty, because of course it's always moving on the paper. That's why it's always better to start, let's say, yeah, moving if you're drawing with right hand and from left to right. And the opposite, yeah, if you're left-handed, then you start on the right side of the page and you move. So kind of you move your hand always on a bit cleaner part of paper, but it's also normal. You have your drawing and you need to go back and forth. Then you, the trick is you just kind of put the paper under your hand and then you draw. And so like the paper covers some area, because it's both, you kind of start destroying your drawing with your hand. Yeah, it's kind of because the hand gets dirty. And of course we have very, very dark, this inside part of the paper. It's also maybe don't rush to make it, but in some moment, like when you already feel, yeah, then it can also help you. So probably like when you already started the stage of precising the tonality, and then you can also put a bit those this inside part, because it's very, very dark. And then of course you will have also this relation, yeah, how dark should other parts be. And it doesn't have to be like that crazily dark. So actually in tonality, you can choose, yes, and the drawings can be actually also very light in itself. And then it's always the question of this relations, yeah. So let's say all these inside part of the paper that on this picture we see like totally black. Let's say on my drawing, I make it like middle gray, so I don't go with the, and then it just means that all the rest of my fingers, they will have to be lighter, yeah? They have to go, let's say also half dark than this, so So it's in the end, it's kind of exactly more important, those relations. And what happens when you draw? So sometimes, like those ones who are pro, they can like from, you know, first time decide and get right in this tonality. So they put some shadow, and that's the way the dark it, you know, should be. But of course, when you learn and everything, you kind of keep on correcting, keep on yeah. So you put shadow somewhere, then you go to the other side, you work there, you made there something dark, and then you see, aha, okay, which one now is darker, which one now is lighter, which one should I correct? And yeah, and this is like, that's what you do, going kind of back and forth, precising the. And for example, where I would need my hard pencil, so let's say H, yeah, or 3H. Let's say, for example, the nails. Yeah, the nail in itself, it's pretty much light. Yeah, but still it has, we can also see, yeah, it has also those a bit. And in here I can, then I use my hard pencil, let's say H, and then I can make those differences, but they're not too dark, yeah, so then I can. And the more you practice all these pencil drawing techniques, the more you feel kind of which pencil you need. Yeah, so later you kind of already automatically start jumping, between like 2B, or no, now I need 7B. For this area I need, yeah, back some hard one. And but of course, let's say with this hard pencil that is H, it will be almost never possible to make these dark shadows. Yeah, these ones in between the fingers. Yes, and again, important also how you put the shadow. Is it a very strict line or is it a soft line? Yeah, and how to know it? Well, basically the object is telling you, so you just, you know, look and study. So here in this, like, we already have this drawing, so it's already pretty much decided for us. Yeah, but let's say if you put your hand and try to draw it, yeah, then you just go and analyze all those shadows. But later it's also, you kind of, the more practice you have, later you already remember. Yeah, let's say it's typical when you paint face, then you have your nose. And then at the point of the nose, the shadow is always like this soft, curvy shadow, because of course the shape of the nose, it goes curvy. And then let's say if it's supported, like the person is a bit turned, so then I see the line of my nose, and then it's kind of this the eye behind the nose. And then this line of the nose I'll draw very sharp, because in real life it's actually like there is air behind. Yeah, there is nose, then air, and then it comes the cheek and the eye. So and of course, in general, like, doesn't matter whose portrait you draw, these rules will be pretty much the same. Yeah, also like the upper lip is always a bit darker, because of course, because of the shape, it's under the shadow, and lower lip always a bit lighter, because the light is usually from the up. Yeah. In case if we put yeah, a light under our chin, like for Halloween, then of course the shadows they change. Yeah, then my upper lip becomes lighter and the lower lip is darker. But this is why that's why it's unusual, because we have like the sun or the lamps is always usually, of course, on top. So we also get used to see us and other people with this kind of shadows. Yeah, also eyes, upper part of eye is always darker. And there is always light falling on the lower part of the eye. And yes, and for example, if let's say I got here till this inside part that is dark, and then to make it quicker, I just of course take, let's say I have here 9B pencil, and then just with one go, I can have this tonality darker. Yeah, but if I take, let's say 2B, it will take me like maybe 10 minutes to reach this level of blackness. And when we do those pencil strokes, it's pretty much important to you go back in air. So yeah, if you start from up, then you do the stroke from up to down, and then you come back with your hand in air, and again from up to down. Yeah? And not like kind of moving up, like up and down, and from down also touching the pencil to paper, because then you get those there are like kind of those curvy moments, and they just don't look kind of nice or professional. Yeah, but it's also a little bit like kind of a training to do those strokes. It's not that hard. That's like and also very good, like a general suggestion, if there is some part that you like really struggle with, then it's actually always better make it just lighter and don't draw it. Like, so you struggle something, then just kind of lighten up your drawing, and at once it will look better. Yeah, so don't kind of fight or leave some ugly dark lines, and just leave it till next time. With next practice, you will get this, I don't know, shape or like detail. Yeah, and then again, in this moment, it's also again, remember we often talk about this uniting. Yeah, so again, kind of, and then this uniting also works good with a bit lighter pencil. So then I take, let's say, I took my H pencil, and then I can kind of go around like a bit precising, doing the shape, the shade of my finger, and more softer. So exactly for those shadows that I was telling that are this curvy shadow. So then, because then with this lighter pencil, I kind of stretch out the shadow, make it a bit more curvy. Yeah, and then of course it's also important to have your pencil sharp. Yeah, especially when you get already to all those tiny details, then it's just like you feel how much easier it is when the pencil is nicely sharp, then you can get into these all tiny lines. And then it's kind of you decide which level you will bring this drawing. So you can easily spend like 8 hours or more, and then you'll have very nice, very detailed, very sophisticated drawing. Yeah. So it's a question of time. Huh? Yesterday I went to in Riga we have Depeche Mode bar, and then it was Depeche Mode song. Question of time. So in art, it's also the question of yeah, and yeah, it's also like go and if you made something somewhere darker, go and tap, lighten up, and also and then it's also like this also general rule of cast shadows, that place where the shadow is touching the object is darker, and then it goes like lighter, fading out. Yeah, and here in some areas we can also see it. Yeah, here also shown it. All right, I have a wish to. I will try maybe sketch a little bit the face. So I'll not, of course, do all the face too precise. I think you already also felt there is enough work with hands, yeah. But just to have kind of drawing, not to leave it to unfinished. I'll try sketch some face, then I'll go to the second hand. Yeah, because it's also a little bit like following this the rule of so not to make dirty the paper, the drawing, so just kind of move from one side of paper to another. Yeah, and here also where, like, let's say you have those paper is folding, and you can also see, here line is very, very straight, strict, and there it's like very, very fading line, very soft. And this all makes exactly this effects, because if you make all the lines the same, then it won't work. So the eyes, yeah, and of course very tricky with all the position of the eyes. The same story, can't place them too close, too far away, then at once it will be something different. But I try to. So it's also very good exercise, try to draw your own eye. So like sitting in the mirror and exactly just also trying to make it in one-to-one size proportion. Yeah, so like how big is your eye, the same size it should be on the paper, so not making it bigger. And then the same, try to make it realistic, study all the shadows. Yeah, so here you can kind of zoom in into his eyes, and then you see this story that the upper part of the eye is always with shadow, and it's even putting shadow on this circular eyeball. And then the lower part is always like very light. Here it's like very, very clean light. So, and then there is also the same rule, like to draw this. So the eyeball, it consists of this white part, and then it consists of this inside circle. Yeah, the one where we have our color of the eyes. And then the white part is not non-transparent. So there you use the general rules of shadows, how you would put on round objects. Yeah, so we call exercise of sphere, and then the same the way you do it. The light from left, then you put shadow on the right, and so on. But with this circular part where the color is, it's transparent. So it's like, let's say like glass, or, and then of course you draw differently. Then the light reflections, there will be, and then that's why you have this, everyone has this white, like this highlight. Yeah, it's exactly because of the reflection. So that's why, let's say if you would have two lamps shining in your eyes, and you would have these two white parts, two highlights, yeah, or even more. So this is the story of these things. Yeah, so this is why, again, like you practice drawing different materials, metallic, transparent, and then you get kind of experience on how this stuff looks. Yeah, so as I said, I don't really want to draw a lot of his face, so I'll just kind of have found the position of the eyes, and then we'll just try to make all the rest a bit all dark, and then just maybe like the eyes looking out. So this mystery man looking out. Yeah, so it means then if now I'm trying to do this kind of a bit hidden eyes inside the darkness, then of course I can't put there as light as there is on this picture. Yeah, some parts I just need to hide everything inside. Let's see. Wow, Aaron. Hey, guys, check it out if you can see it. Yeah, very impressive.
One of the things I found useful, both me and Mel, we've actually got these sort of whites, blender type pens, pencils. So that helps to actually sort of do the shading a bit.
Yeah. Nice one. Yes, it's actually good. Exactly, good trick. So you can also do with your finger, but of course it's practical to do also with this like paper rolled Sharpie one. Yeah. Wow, and very nice highlights in the eyes. Yeah, Darren, you have an.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you have kind of
eyes have always been something I've always sort of drawn to when I sort of doodle sort of thing. I usually sort of just draw any sort of eye sort of thing. So, so that's quite pleased the way it came out.
Really good job, Darren, and fast.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm still way behind.
Yeah.
It's not a race, is it? It's not a race.
No, I understand, and I just like being able to concentrate and relax. So you see, I'm not very far. I just sent it.
Yeah, and good. Yeah, so Darren, you've noticed all these differences, like cast shadows very dark, very sharpy. Then all the other shadows on the fingers are softer, and you have nice accents, like it. Yeah, the nose, the rest of the nose is softer. Maybe a little bit like this hand on the left, the shape. So maybe I feel maybe it should be maybe a bit more white, a bit more lighter. Yeah. But this one can also be just with the razor, kind of maybe tap a bit.
Yep.
Yeah, but also maybe just mainly kind of this these two fingers in the middle. Yeah. And so just kind of a bit lighter, and then I already feel then but it's just like in comparison to everything, just tiny detail. I had to find something. Yeah, also then maybe also again, like the way how you do your drawing. So I mean, you're gonna work on it some hours more and make it more and more sophisticated. So then you, let's say, don't leave your nails just empty spots. Yeah, you can also already feel the difference. Here in these nails, you did a little bit shading somewhere.
Yeah.
At once it looks something, rather than just, and there you take exactly this H pencil hard and just do a little bit, and it already gives the very nice, very creative also solution for the eyes. Also this, I like this highlight how you did. So it's not just boring square, it has this shape and very, very dark next to it. And then very soft. Wow, you have this natural feeling for this stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Congrats, Darren.
Thank you.
Okay. Very interesting. Louis got very, very dark. Actually, nice job on all the proportions for the hands. So really can feel, okay, this one is ending here, this one here, so kind of all very nicely planned. And in general, there is a suggestions that your artwork, like in every stage you do it, should look in this right tonality. So meaning, let's say, if I put this really, really dark, it looks actually nice. It can be also like maybe just some like different technique, like this contrast. I lift, like the shadow is maybe the main hero, and all the rest I leave. But if we're talking about this classical type of drawing, then it's kind of, you complicate your darkness and your shadows like the way you progress. Huh? So let's say maybe like this little dark spot, yeah.
Yeah. I see.
Then it looks a little bit like, because here on the left, all the shadow looks nice because it's big and all together and makes sense. But then this little spot, like, yes, it is dark, but then it is dark when all the rest is also dark enough. Yeah. But like, if now you're still working and it's kind of light gray, then this spot also should be like, yeah, the light gray the way it is. And then later, of course, you already put on a bit more the
Yeah.
but cool.
Okay.
I imagine, like, Luis, if you you know, take time, and yeah, will look really nice. Wow,
think-
nice. I'm impressed. I didn't know. We spend all the time in acrylics, and here you go. Yay. Nice one. Yeah. And of course, in all these pencil drawings, it's also nice to leave some things unpainted. Yeah, so like this, the image, the one we copied today, it's like, it's completed. It's all the same. Yeah, kind of the hands, everything is like, it really looks like a photo almost. Yeah. But of course, if it's art, you can easily leave maybe, yeah, you do, let's say, something more detailed. The rest you leave just maybe like a sketch, like a contour. Yeah. Because I mean, yeah, otherwise we actually have photograph. Yeah, we don't really need but so cool. Yeah, Darren beat me in a speed. So I'm actually thinking, yeah, well, maybe we'll leave just this hand, yeah, maybe unfinished, or yeah, so but cool. I see, yeah, you're doing so great. So we can actually maybe, of course, if you're interested, practice a bit exactly those other drawings, like, yeah, like glass with the water in a spoon. But then, of course, it's actually cool, like, so maybe I can also manage somehow with the camera to put just a real object, yeah, because one thing, of course, is copying from pictures, but it really helps your eyes when you put a real object, and then you really kind of study, okay, the light goes from here I get this shadow, this is like this, and then in this case your eyes get better trained, and so maybe we can also one day practice something like this. And then one very cool also exercise can be, so actually with this tonality, yeah, how dark and how light, you can even show a little bit the feeling of color. So of course the drawing stays black and white, but let's say you put two apples, you put a green apple and a red apple, and then you do the drawing with the pencil, but with this tonality, you kind of need to show, so the viewer should from your drawing say, this apple is red and this one is green. So then you work on this exactly tonality. Yeah, that this one you put a bit darker, this one a bit lighter, and so on, so on. So yeah, because it's also when you start working, sometimes one kind of tends to darken too much the drawing. So, and it's actually harder to show the same kind of proportions within the lighter drawing. Yeah. So as I mentioned, the same drawing can be lighter or darker, but they should have the same kind of tonality story. And when I darken too much, then it's easier for me, because then I say, okay, I have this like very, very, very dark, and then I have this bigger space to play around with other grays. Yeah. But let's say if I make this my black spot, if I make it, yeah, just gray. Oh my God, how subtle I have to go with all the rest parts. Yeah, then so then it's also kind of sometimes that's why sometimes people tend to darken too much, because then of course it makes the job a bit easier. Yeah, cool, guys. Very unexpected results. Huh? I have funny eyes looking up. It's yeah, and then of course also it makes sense then in these kind of drawings you practice separately. You draw eyes separately, then another you take paper, you study the nose. Yeah, and that's why and actually it makes sense, like if you together with your studies of hands, nose, ear, you have this anatomy book and you kind of look into this bones structure. I mean, you can follow actually only the like light and shadow. So you look at the object, okay, shadow is like this, light is like this, and I copy the size of these spots. But somehow it actually works when your brain are understanding why this shadow is there, and then you see, aha, the finger it's turning because I know the bone, there is like this, and there is connection in the bone. And it actually gives effect to your drawings. They start looking more like a trustful, let's say, because kind of somehow maybe. So instead of just putting some shadows and some lights, you really put and you know, aha, this is the story, this is the bone, this is this, and so then of course in all those academies you study also some anatomy. Yeah, and then that's why of course you have also this school and all the stuff there that you're drawing. Now I feel Darren is a bit bored. It's a little bit like in school. So they go now, and then of course there are kids who finish quickly, then there are kids who paint longer, and then it's always like the ones who finish quickly and finished, and then of course they don't sit nicely and quietly as Darren, then they start.
Sorry.
Then you need to
Well,
give them some task. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm going to shut off now, but I'll see everyone's work on the WhatsApp group when you guys have finished it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Sure.
I'll see you all next week.
Yeah, see you next week, Lauren. Amazing,
Pleasure.
amazing
Bye.
result. I'm
Thank you.
totally impressed. Yeah.
Thank you. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Yes. Well, I say we can like, yeah, we go also like 10 minutes more and I have to go, but so feel free to kind of send the stage you are at, because then, and then later, of course, we discuss also in chat the end result when you already feel you're finished. Yeah, but if you want to talk about your drawings now, then send to me. Well, guys, I think I'll be slowly finishing because I have to go. So yeah, let's check. Karen, I'm meaning you, of course.
Sorry. Oh, you mean me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm working on the fingers of one hand and I haven't done any of the rest of it. So
All right.
I will but I want to get into the habit of a daily drawing practice. So I'll keep picking it up during the week. And
Cool. Your this composition you sent to us in pencil was really nice result. Yeah. So for you,
I was so pleased with it. I was like, give me hairspray now. I need to set it. Yeah. Given, you know, I mean, I missed one of the classes because of the COVID, but I've changed the way I look at things. The way I look at things has changed in the 5 weeks of doing this course, which has really been interesting.
wow.
So that I don't look at the outline of something, or I wasn't when I was doing that. I was looking at the shadows. So yeah, but I can't come next week because I'm actually doing an abstract seascapes course class.
Ooh, looking
in
forward.
person. In person.
Fantastic. Yes, 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 yes. Awesome. Well, let's take a look a bit on one more Louis result. Yeah, so kind of Louis, a bit more like all together. I understand you sent it to me because I was like putting pressure, like, but yeah, so kind of working more together. So because like, as I said, in any stage, your artwork should look, let's say, presentable. I mean, of course, we always have these moments. Yeah, of course, we need to finish work on. But now let's say, okay, I have this big shadow, big dark shadow. Now some stripe connecting to the eye. Rather than I would be like just covering all grayish, and then like recovering a bit darker. Yeah, so
yeah, I have the tendency of taking breaks, like, and you've suggested that sometimes. So when I do the line work, for example, I was working on the eye, and I said, okay, that's good enough for now. And then I had to tweak it because it still looks a little crooked, so it's not perfectly horizontal. But I'm going to leave it like that. And then I need to do the other eye. And then I was thinking, I got to make sure the mouth is right in the middle, not off to the side, you know? So because I was going to do the mouth first. And then I said, no, let's do the other eye. And then I got to fit I'll bring the nose down, and then I'll know where to put the mouth. And sometimes just to relieve that and to think about it, I go on to other things. And so in the end, my shadows are going to be a lot darker than everybody else's, or at least yours and Darren's, you know, because I do want it to be dark. But it's just not done. Put it that way. But
sure. No,
I don't. It seems like I never finish one thing. Sometimes I can draw the whole thing, and then worry about shading. But sometimes I choose not to. So that's why you see a little bit of everything in my drawings until the end.
No, that's completely, I understand. I mean, it's also good. We all have our own way, and so the comments I do is always just from this traditional, let's say, way of doing this drawing. But of course, you take what fits you. And
I appreciate that. I think
so. My advice would be, so of course, let's say, okay, you did the eye, and then you notice, it's not really like horizontally straight. It's a bit like it goes up.
Yeah.
Totally good. So like you say, okay, I'm lazy kind of to correct it. There is no need. We can have any person behind there. So there is just, then of course, you just kind of put the straight line. So it goes like now a bit up. You do the second eye. So just kind of, you can even like with the eyebrow, you continue the line, and both like, so all the circles that are in one straight line. And then of course you get the perpendicular to this, you get the nose, and then you get the mouth. And then
so
and again, like nose and mouth can be like also very sketchy, like let's say just a guess that there is no nose and mouth, just a few lines. I mean, this also can be not everything has to be precise and detailed. Or the opposite, let's say you leave your hands kind of this white empty, so just the contour, and you do very detailed the inside part of the face. Yeah. So I mean,
And even now, I also have to quit in a few minutes because I have to go do something else. But I will come back to it later this afternoon and finish it.
yep.
It's
Looking
fun.
forward.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys also for this exercise.
I have sent you my hand that I've been working on.
Oh, good.
Um, have you? Have you?
Oh, did I not send it? Did I just picture it?
I didn't see it.
I didn't send it. There you go.
Oh, okay.
I always forget.
Aha, nice one, nice one. Yes, yes, yes. So,
like
yeah, just kind of continue working. So let's say now would be good to study the shape of the fingers. Yeah, so because these all fingers, they have kind of two sides. Yeah, they have, let's say, the bit frontal side and the side part. And so one of them would be more shadowish, a bit more lighter, depends where the light is coming from. Yeah, so in our case, yeah. So and then you can also take like a bit harder pencil, let's say take H, and then it's also easier then, so it's not too dark as those shadows under the fingers or here. Then it's also easier, you just kind of tick work on this. So like this would be what I continue working. And then also, let's say, the way the fingers end. So again, of course, I understand it's not finished, but let's say kind of don't leave maybe this line to fade, just kind of continue. So let's say if you say, okay, their inside is the darker area, so then you just kind of make it all a bit, yeah, so not like thick
It's not a line, it's a shadow.
Yeah, but just to go like a few seconds a bit more, and then so it's not a line, but it's like two areas connecting, yeah, dark area and then white, yeah, instead of having maybe this contour, because then why? Because like this one looks nice because the line is like half transparent, but this thick line, and then it starts kind of contradicting with the other side, yeah, because we say, okay, this is the side where we have those dark shadows and the accent, and here it's more actually kind of going away inside and more far away, like, so we have our nails closer to us than this part, yeah. So but this is like very, very just like, yeah, not of course essential in the process of work. Yeah,
I appreciate your feedback.
Yeah. So, but cool. I'm happy to experiment on those, but then I'm waiting for you, Karen, to help us, or me in personal, with abstract.
Let me do me seascapes next week, and I'll come back on that one.
Yeah, I catch you on a word. We'll be looking forward.
Super. All right, my love. I see you in 2 weeks' time, hopefully.
Yes, see you. Happy you're healthy, Karen. Stay fit. You too, Louis.
Yeah.
Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.